right, we've got about a minute till 8 o'clock, so we'll see who shows up this evening. Hi, Shannon. If you are here, go ahead and say hi. We will not be doing screen sharing tonight, so I'm hoping that means no glitches. All right, looks like we've got Shannon and one more. Hi, Linda. We'll give everyone else another minute. I'm hoping that this week will go better. And there's Tranda. All right. Hi. We got 4 people. All right. That's 5. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So again, hi, I'm Jennifer Christensen. I am the mentor chair. So if you guys would just say hi if you're here, I'd appreciate it so I can get an idea of who I'm talking to. Tonight we're going to talk about grading and assessment a little bit. I do want to make it very clear I am not an expert at all, but been doing it a while. So I got some things I can share with people, and maybe we can start a dialogue. Okay. Personally, I have a love-hate relationship with grades and grading. Just I kind of think sometimes they're arbitrary, but at the same time they're a good motivator, and other times they're not. So I'm just going to go through with what I do, and then we can ask questions and open up for discussion. I have taught kindergarten through high school. I'm currently a high school teacher, so I'm going to start there. And there is a huge debate, if you haven't heard it already, about process versus product. I do grade the product. So, I mean, if that's not your philosophy, we can have a discussion about it. But, oh, that's the wrong way. At the beginning of all my projects, my goal is to give my students their rubric, the grading rubric that they get, so that they have an understanding of what I'm, grading them on, so they have something to aspire to. I'm going to actually post that now so you guys can all see it. If you choose to use it or borrow it, make sure you make a copy so that you're not, well, you can't actually edit mine, but you make a copy into your own Google. Okay, so this is one of my docs that I use. So I go through the criteria that I know I want the students to do, and I try to think about it as much. Oh, hi, Bob. The things that I really think are important. When I first started teaching, I would not think my rubrics through, and things that I wanted the students to do, I would accidentally leave off. And when you do that, you can't grade it. So if it's not on your rubric, it doesn't actually exist. You can't penalize or promote it. You got to have it. Rubrics are great justification for your grades. So if you have an upset student or a parent that's like, why? This is why. So when you look at my rubric, it's kind of split up in a couple different sections. I usually have craftsmanship. I believe in craftsmanship, finishing, creativity, Product and effort is down at the bottom, because I mean, you got kids that will throw something together and it still looks okay, which is really frustrating, but they've spent 2 days versus everyone else's 6. Work habits, which I borrowed from another teacher. Sometimes I have project requirements that are very specific. They also get graded for their portfolio, which I talked about last week, and their self-evaluation. So the reason I like the self-evaluation is it really eliminates this idea that I didn't know that was expected. So before they turn it in, they're supposed to read the rubric, self-grade, and generally speaking, once they've had that chance to look at the rubric, you don't get a lot of discussion of, well, why did you grade me that way? It's taken me a lot of years to get good rubrics. So if you are a new teacher, borrow, okay? Always ask another teacher to look over your rubric. Think about what it is that's really important to you. For me, when I'm doing ceramics or sculpture, craftsmanship's important. I don't want a sculpture that you can't like touch. You're afraid to even put it on a table. So I want their structure to be very sound. So that's always a big deal on my rubric. I want to talk about, so that is one part of my grading system. The other part is we have weekly grades. My principals in the past have required grades in the grade book every week, non-negotiable. And they would get very frustrated when I say, well, it's taken us 3 weeks to do this. You have to come up with another way. When I was a traveling teacher, I tried several different ways to do participation points. I never did get that quite figured out. Currently, I use a system that is all about their weekly journals. They're supposed to turn that in every week, so that kind of counts as their daily points, and it gives me a grade in the grade book. The reason you want weekly grades, if you have that kid that chooses to do nothing and it takes 3 weeks to do that project and they've done nothing, their grade will be okay, and then plummet. It's very, very hard to justify that to parents. It's really hard to justify it to administration. So document. Okay, you have to, I know that sounds depressing, but you have to have the paperwork to back up why the grade is the way it is. Okay. I was talking to a shop teacher today, and he does daily participation points. So every day they have the opportunity to get 10 points. You need to find a system that works for you to get that in. Now, some of the things that I've read over the years about grades, and there are tons about it, behavior is not supposed to be part of the grading system. Not supposed to. They don't see that since academics and behavior are supposed to be separate, there's a lot of people out there. I wish I could remember what conference I heard her speak at. I think it was National Conference in Chicago. A woman was going through grading procedures and saying behavior should not ever be part of a student's grade. So if you've got a kid that yells out, or the ones that are just giving you gray hairs, you're not supposed to grade them on that. Now the kicker is, if you are like me and had a principal that expected, this is at the elementary level, okay, she expected behavior, like a bad behavior or negative behavior, to be reflected in their grades. And I really struggled with that. So you gotta kind of negotiate that with your principal. If your principal says this is the way things are, they're kind of your boss. See, I mean, not kind of, they are. So you got to be able to work within the system. Okay. So when it comes to grading, that's where I'm at on that. When I was elementary, we had the 0, 1, 2, 3, which I never liked because it was like needs improvement, on task, above and beyond. And heaven forbid if you gave those kids a 2 instead of a 3. Oh my gosh. Because if they are on task, that's a 2. If they are above and beyond, that's a 3. But parents see that 2 and it's like, why are they not a 3? And that's rough. And middle school was very similar to my high school grading. So that's where I'm at grades. I recommend rubrics. You can do checklists, which are a little simpler. They're more black and white. In my opinion, you either have this certain criteria or not. Hello, Renelle. I don't recognize that name. Where are you from, Renelle? So, yeah, checklists are fun. My recommendation is always give the students your grading criteria first, if at all possible. And I know, and I'm right there with some of you if you're brand new teachers or you're just starting over again. This is my third move in 3 years. Not the best decision, but sometimes it's hard to get those rubrics done ahead of time. But it really does help with communications of students on your expectations of the project if they have that grading rubric before so that they're not surprised. So I guess we can go into some questions, see if anybody's got any. I do want to talk a little about, what was that? So we've talked about rubrics. Where's my list? Let's see. I do daily participation points. Autumn. Junction City, awesome. Honestly, if you can keep it up, that's awesome. I've only tried it when I was a traveling teacher and I found it very difficult to keep up with. I'm going to be trying it again probably next semester because I've got kids that are just, they just don't use their time and it's very frustrating. Okay, Bob, I'm very curious about standardized grading. Like, is that standard-based grading? And yeah, no, they want that. The most frustrating thing is, why is my kid not getting an A in art? Well, they're not doing their work, at least in my classes. Um, yeah, I don't know what the standardized. Oh, it's elementary. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't have a choice on that or input at my elementary school. It was very, very frustrating. Tranda, yeah, I stole your daily log idea. That's what my weekly things come up with. What? Okay, Laura Nicole, what is SMSD? Oh, standards based. Yeah, I know there's some schools in Kansas City that do standards based grading. Honestly, I saw a teacher working on it at a conference 2 years ago, and it looked like a bear. Actually, it looked terrifying. So it's not spread throughout all our whole state yet. Yeah, I used to do weekly sketchbook and bell work when I taught middle school. I could keep up with it, and it worked really good for daily grades. What is a log? Oh, okay. So this is kind of like, let me see if I can share with you my document. I stole this from Tranda, who's actually listening. She teaches high school as well at Bellevue. Sorry, Tranda, I don't remember your school district's name. But so basically they have to record what they did every day. Let me see if I can. I made my kids a form. I think Tranda's is a little more free floating. So I'll be able to share that here in just a second. But they have to turn this in every Monday, basically. And I've got kids that still can't. I'm having a frustrating year. I'll be honest, guys. Frustrating. So let's see. Can view, save, shareable link. Copy link. Okay. So here is my daily log. Whoop, wrong way. Oh, Shawnee Mission. Okay, yeah, I know where that is. Hold on. Okay. I have a friend, I think, who teaches Shawnee Mission. Maybe. maybe not. I don't remember. Shaughnessy Hulse, she teaches drama. I'm not sure. No, I can't remember. Okay, so this is what my daily logs are. So I hope you can access that. It should be viewable. So my high school students have to fill this out every week. What's really funny is when they're brutally honest and they write nothing, they don't get credit for that. Like I know they didn't do anything. They know they didn't do anything, and they literally put, "I did nothing." Yeah, you don't get points for doing nothing. That's not okay. So that's how I do my daily logs right now for their daily participation. Um, So it's kind of, you have to find something that works. Some people are very organized and can do that daily point system and have it like staggered. I have yet to try it now that I'm not a traveling teacher, but when I traveled, I couldn't do it. Now I will say, when you're looking at rubrics, I found personally that the simpler the rubric and the simpler the language, the easier it is for everybody involved. So just keep that in mind. So mine's a 1-3-5 rubric when I do mine, so that if they're in between two, because there's nothing worse than having a rubric that's like, oh, they're somewhat good, they're mostly good. No, it's difficult. And grading is so hard anyway. I know some people have mixed feelings on whether or not grading is great. Honestly, I don't know what the right answer is. I'm not sure that some of my students, we're a Title I school, okay, high, low SES, and some of my kids don't really, they're not grade motivated. So I'm looking for motivation on that. I'm trying not to be frustrated with that, and I know everyone else is going that direction of being frustrated. It's hard. Okay. So let's open it up for discussion. I don't remember what else I wrote that we were going to talk about. Probably helps if I'm in the right email. All right, let's go back. Okay, so like I said before, I recommend weekly updates in your grade book. You don't want to spring that on parents. It's just not good. I grade product. I'm looking at different ways to grade process. I'm not sure how I'm going to go about doing that, I'll be honest. Oh, participation. Let's see what else. Okay, so Tranda has shared a couple of examples of her students' weekly logs. So they submit pictures. I'm trying to get my kids leaning more towards that. So those are my grading practices. Let's talk about participation a little bit. Maybe you guys have some ideas too. I've done lots of reading on choice-based learning, and I think there's a fine line to get kids more participating. So I'm leaning more and more towards that again, to try to find those things that they're more excited about. Right, you have to give that information to the parents. You can't just not put in grades. That'll get you in more trouble than you really want to deal with. That's why I say, if you get those weekly grades in, even if you don't want to do daily participation points, check their project progress every week. There's nothing worse than, and I'm sure this is from a student point of view and a parent's point of view, but you do not want to have that conversation with your principal with, why is this kid doing fine 8 weeks through the quarter, and then all of a sudden you put in a week's, you put in all these grades and this kid's failing and he's got a week left. So you really do not want to paint yourself into that corner. Okay, so weekly grades, I mean, you gotta know. Oh, that was the other thing. If they're missing work, okay, so we have this a lot. Kids get behind, they're sick with the flu, sports, all that fun stuff. If you miss the due date, and this is something that was taught to me by an administrator, go ahead and put it as a 0. There's 2 reasons for this. One, it desperately, I mean, if they have the online gradebook, it desperately reminds them, oh, if I don't turn this in, this is what my grade's going to be. And 2, it covers your butt, because this also shows, hey, they're missing this. I mean, this is what's going to happen if you don't do it. It's helped my grading a lot to do that for the one that, hey, they can see exactly what happens. You're going to have that kid that freaks out. Oh my gosh, that's not, you said I could turn it in. And you just say, yeah, you can. And as soon as you do, I'll grade it. And then your grade will go back up. Don't freak out, but this is what's going to happen if you choose not to turn that in. That's just a habit I've gotten into in the last 5 years. I had a principal say, you know what, if it's late, go ahead and put it missing and 0. Go ahead and enter it. Don't leave it blank, because kids get into a false sense of security sometimes if you leave it blank, and then they don't do it. All right, from Laura Nicole. Rubrics divided into 4 25-point sections. Ooh, the objective. I would love to see that. See, when I started teaching, the big thing was Rubistar. If anybody remembers Rubistar? And that's how I got a lot of my rubrics to start out with. So, oh, okay. So, lesson objectives. Ooh, that's fun. Now, Laura Nicole, or I guess I could just say Laura. I do all my grading online anymore, and it saved me tons of time, and I don't lose the rubrics. So that's always good. I am curious if there's any high school teachers out here that weight their grades. I'm finding more and more that I don't like the weighted grades. For instance, my grade book this year was set up 60% projects and then 40% weekly work, and I'm wondering, is that really the best way? I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure. And that's what I like about these mentor talks, is I want to make it very clear I'm not an expert, but we can share information, and that's the important part. Okay? I don't know what me too means, Tranda. Checklist, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna scroll back up to Autumn, hold on. I have a checklist given at the beginning of the project and then create a rubric based on that checklist near the end of the project. Yes, I'm a first. Yeah. Now next year, unless you change all of your projects, I would go ahead and give them the rubric. But yeah, if you have a checklist that does exactly that, you're fine. Just avoid the gotchas. And what I mean by that is you'll find yourself in the middle of a project and a kid will be like, I want to do A, B, or C, or you didn't tell me I had to do this. Okay, you're right. Sometimes you're going to be like, but I want you to do that, and it's not on the checklist. So you're going to have times where you're just going to have to let that go because you didn't have that as a requirement. So the next year you remember, and then you put that as a requirement. You don't want to accidentally change your grading to get the gotchas. You don't want to accidentally set your kids up to lose points when you weren't clear at the beginning. It's all about teacher clarity. We just did a PD, what's today? Oh God, it's been a long week already. Yesterday about visible learning and teacher clarity. And they basically want you to be able to tell kids, why are we doing this? What's the purpose? And how do I know I'm successful? So that's kind of a big thing in our district right now, is visible learning. Let's see, did I miss any other questions? Doesn't look like it. Now, I will tell you that as far as non-project grades, quizzes and vocabulary. I am struggling with the vocabulary. So if any of you are finding success with vocabulary, let me know, because for years and years and years, I did the same thing. They got the vocabulary, they took their notes, they took their quizzes, and then 2 months later, they still didn't know what the word meant. So I quit doing the quizzes, and I've been focusing on trying to use the language in class more. I mean, I did before, but now I'm trying to focus more on it, and I'm trying to decide, is this better? I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not an expert. We're all trying to figure out the best way to teach kids. Yeah, Autumn, if you like the way it's set up, go for it. Keep it. Unless, of course, your admin comes in and says something different. So, but I don't think ours honestly care how ours is weighted. So, all right. We'll have a short talk tonight, it looks like. So I would like to open it up to anybody who's got questions or discussions. If you're a newer teacher and you have specific questions, that's definitely what we're here for. We've got a couple of veteran teachers, looks like, on the online right now. So now is the time to ask. Now I will say that for your clay projects, it's not a bad idea to have it before and after the kiln grade, because things do go bad sometimes. Personally, I find that frustrating because I hate touching greenware, but things do explode. So give them participation points. If they got it done and it just didn't. Now, if they purposely made an air bubble for it to explode, or things like that, that's different. Okay. I'm not seeing any more comments. There are tons of rubrics out there, and obviously you can always ask. Can always look at the standards. I've not seen what standard-based learning or grade system looks like, because we don't have it in our district. So. Okay, any new teacher questions that may not be related to grading? Oh, new comment. Is that a book, Bob? Oh, thank you. Okay, so Shannon does a PowerPoint with her kids. It has helped a lot. Awesome. I do want to tell you a couple of things. If we don't have any more questions or comments, I'm definitely going to be looking at this make your visual learning visible, Bob. But another comment. Okay. I'm not sure how to say Xian. It depends on the kind of glaze you have. Do you know off the top of your head what kind of glazes you have by chance? Amico has got, is it called Teacher's Palette? And they are mixable, but in general, most glazes are not. So if you can tell me the brand of glazes you have, I mean, Most of the time they're not, unless it specifically says mixable. The ones I had at my middle school, they were the teacher's palette, and they were mixable, and they were kind of fun. I would like to know, is that high school, elementary, middle school, or is it K-12? Trying to see who you are. You're in Manhattan. Sorry, a little Facebook checking out here. Mayo. Probably not. I would assume that they're not. Jan. I would not say that they're mixable. Small school one. Okay. Okay, Autumn, what grade levels are you teaching? Oh, yours is high school. Yeah, they're not probably going to be mixable. Now, I don't know about I wonder if it's Mako is what you're talking about. But what you might do is high school. Oh, Tonganoxie. Hey, I have friends from Tonganoxie. Yes. Okay, so Autumn, definitely look at Tranda here. And Tranda, I need to talk to you because I was hoping you'd do a mentor talk too. But Tranda knows where all the money is. So yeah, budget. I don't know where you, oh, Tonganoxie. So if you're looking for all sorts of things, you're close enough to Kansas City. Is Kate Miller on here somewhere? There's a cool store up in Kansas City where you can buy a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, okay. So Linda Nelsa Bova just put Mako glazes are intermixable for custom colors. So if those are the ones you have, see, I only have Amico, so I'm not sure. And I was always taught, not to. So she's saying that you should be able to. Yay, we helped somebody. So, oh, what was that place called? Scraps, yes. Okay, so I'm jealous because I'm 4 hours away from Kansas City, but apparently this is like the gold mine for sculpture stuff. As far as fine art stuff, talk to your booster club, donors choose. Definitely, Tranda and Katie both have managed to get some really good funds for their classroom. I mean, they know where all the grants are for sure. We will be doing another mentor talk in I think a month about kind of tips and tricks for the art room. If you're trying to do fine art stuff, I mean, some of it is not going to be archivable, but at the high school level, that's maybe not as important. When I student taught, the high school teacher I student taught with actually used Masonite board and house paint primer for her canvases for her high school painting classes. So they painted on board that was primed with house paint, and then they did their acrylic paintings that way. So I'm not sure obviously that wouldn't be archival. So in 20 years, I don't know what that would look like. But for a high school level, that might save you some money. Haha, okay, the foundation glazes are intermixable. Okay, any other questions for this evening? Give us another minute and then remind you of some events that are going on for KAEA, because we're cool like that. All right. So while we wait for any more questions to come in, I do want to remind you that the Youth Art Month reception is March 10th at the, I'm going to say it wrong. Where is it? At the Sabatini Gallery in Topeka, which is at the public library. Also know that Audra is Sheila is oh, kilns. Okay, so I love my programmable Scut kiln. Actually, there is a video on the KAEA YouTube of how to run one. They're awesome because you just set it and forget it, basically. Well, I mean, don't forget it because it's a kiln, but it's still really, really cool. Oh, yes. So Tranda's having a boutique workshop, and that's in Belleville, which is north of Salina. So if you're interested in that, you're more than welcome. Youth Art Month is March 10th. We are looking for newsletter articles as well, so you can also contact the newsletter. And the reception is from 1 to 2. And lastly, I do want to put a plug for summer camp, and there will be a let's see, there's going to be a pretty intense ceramics, wheel throwing ceramics workshop. And then I know for sure that Lynn, is Martha doing it too? I'm not sure. But Lynn Feltz, who is a retired teacher from Winfield, does amazing chalk pastels. And she's going to be doing a workshop. And there's a possibility of an airbrush workshop as well for summer camp. So all that stuff is available on kaea.com. And you can go ahead and start registering for summer camp. And if you've never been to summer camp, it's a lot of fun. So I highly recommend it. So unless there's any other questions, it has been a long day. Did not get a plan period today, so it's been a long day. And if you do have questions, go ahead and post on the video, and I'll try to catch them as we go. Tranda also likes her Scut kiln. They're really easy to use. They're nice. And we'll call it a night. So thank you for joining us. In 2 weeks, I think the talk is supposed to be about, what did I say? What did I say it was about? Oh, curriculum and lesson planning. I'm going to show you how I do it, and then you can either use that information or, not. Anyway, oh, yes. So you can rehydrate old clay. You might need to add some gum Arabic solution because it can degrade the binder. So there's that. Yeah. So you just add a little bit of water till it's kind of a, almost like yogurt. Little more watery than yogurt is what I have done in the past. So, all right. Have a good night, everybody.